Uh-oh. What do we have here, y'all? What do we... Oh. That's Nolan right there, y'all. That's Nolan right there. I'm trying to do it slow for y'all. This one of them breeze by. You know how they do the little boomerang thing on Instagram and all. It's one of those. Y'all see that? So I want y'all to pay attention to see everybody. I'm gonna see who that is in the front. Y'all see this? That's Nolan. That is Nolan. I'm trying to see who it. So you got all these damn people ain't saying nothing. This is wild. 1, 2, 3. There's somebody right here in the cut. There's somebody right here. Somebody right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's somebody at the front of the driver. 5, 6, 7. Justice for Nolan, man. Let's get it, y'all. Look, 2 right there. Hold on.
So
2 up there. 2 up there.
So that is.
Look, 2 up there. Just enjoying the breeze and shit. That's sad, man. Sad, man.
I know y'all remember this.
You have no idea who you're dealing with.
Any corruption and cover-up starts with your connections.
Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back.
And guess what town the DA lives in? Ocean Springs.
I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake.
The Mississippi Rising Coalition recently posted this with questions on Facebook for the DA. One question, does the DA have any personal relationships with the friend's parents? And the second one, because she's involved in a lot of these local women's groups, even women's Republican groups, does she have any connection with Judge Ashley Cole? And would that be a conflict of interest? And asking if she should recuse herself from an investigation involving a child of one of her professional colleagues.
I found them. I found all the people that were on Katie's boat, y'all. Shout out to the real Jada J that turned me on to this picture. And as y'all can see, we've got a match with the necklace and the swimsuit. Think I busted out my glasses and red lipstick just for the swimsuit? Nah. Now, as I talked about yesterday, we've all suspected that this is Kendall for a while now. The identity of this curly-haired girl has always eluded us. Well, not anymore, folks. For now, I'm gonna just refer to these girls as T and L. As you can see, L clearly has the same kind of hair texture that's in the bottom of this picture. We know that these two were together on 4th of July, and T did not 1, but 2 Nolan tributes after his body was found. Now, another one of their friends had a reel, which they did a little panning video on the best 4th of July ever. And who was in that video? Well, that looks to me to be Jacob, Kendall's longtime boyfriend. So it seems confirmation to me that both Kendall and her boyfriend were on this boat the entire day. Now that I have found this group of friends, I was scouring the pictures and I found this. We've got Elle with somebody I immediately recognized because I remembered that swimsuit, and they tried to hide this picture in a document dump so you didn't know what day it was. Well, if it isn't Nevaeh. Oh, she back! She back! Same swimsuit, same belly ring, and there she is clearly earlier in the day with Kendall, clearly on the same boat. And just in case you didn't see my video on the Tube of You yesterday, or just need a reminder, here was the friend group breakdown that I had. But to me, this seemingly clearly confirms that these two were on this boat probably all day. I say this because there's another picture from the summer with Nevaeh with the little pink cup right here. You can see the pink cup in the lap of Kendall up here, along with the matching, poles and this, all of it matches. Now I want to go back to this picture because in the background there, we see somebody seemingly approaching the group to join them to go out in red shorts. And y'all know that I've been saying for a while that in my humble opinion, I believe that the person in red shorts is Warren's brother. But now I also think there's a strong possibility that it could be Lainey's boyfriend, Drew. Just as further confirmation, these glasses match the glasses that are in the Katie Snapchat. I think it's pretty safe to say that we definitely found the people that were on the boat with Katie. Now here's where it gets a little interesting to me though. Look at how late in the day this picture seems to be taken. And they clearly were still out at night. So did they drop everybody else off? Did they come back out? Got a lot of unknowns here, but I did my social media scour. And let me explain to you what I found. So we've got L and T on the boat with Kendall and Nevaeh, like we've confirmed that. We also know at some point Katie was on the boat with them as well. T was the only one that seemed to be connected to Nolan on social media. Now remember how the person who released the Snapchat pictures of Katie said that they were not friends with her? Well, I found that T was actually connected to a lot of people social media wise, whether they were following her or she was following them. I was able to find Javon. I was able to find Ava D, the girl from the party. I was able to find the entire Hudson family, as well as Katie, Lainey, Trin, Ava, all of the other friend group, the core group that I talked about yesterday. And I found out that L was either following or was followed by Ava, Jax, and Bart. Now here's the real kicker. When I went to T's Book of Face page, I found out that she was FB friends with not only Warren's mom, but Bart's mom as well, and several other adults that are close friends with that mom group. And I also found out that Lainey and Nevaeh are both friends with the older McGrath brother, but it seems like he was in Texas at the time, so most likely he was not on the boat or around for this. However, he does have a younger brother who is friends with T on social media. And that makes me wonder if the younger McGrath brother might have been on that boat. Now remember, Lainey said that she was not on Horn Island. She was with a different group of friends on a different island altogether. But now I'm wondering if this boat, this group, might have been the other group that they got into the altercation with. Because remember, they specifically said that they knew the guy, like knew of him, but they weren't like friends with him. Because does nobody else think it's weird that whoever else they were fighting on the beach hasn't come forward? Especially if they were people that didn't really know these people? But could this boat have been the fourth boat that we've seen? Because if this is the same red shorts guy, then how did he get onto the other boat?
Hey y'all, hey, I just got back in and bombshell. Why we have a photo of Nolan with Bart and a large group of people. And I'm just going to show you real quick because I have questions. Hold on, let's look. Now, I have questions because from what the last thing that I heard per Warren, that Nolan was on leaving and went out to Horns Island on the Triton with Wyatt. That's what Warren said. And then how can the video that I just shared with you guys this morning, how could that be Nolan in the video when Nolan is on another dock with Bart getting ready to head out there to Horns Island? Y'all, what is going on? And then Warren, I'm so confused because how are you saying that how is that your friend? How is that your best friend, your brother from A High, and you're nowhere in the picture? What's really going on? Y'all, this is some... Yes, sister, friend, I will share a longer version. I'm going to add it to this one. But the purpose of this video, I couldn't even sleep last night because I was trying to put A, B, C together. So this picture, the video, on June the 23rd helps in a lot of ways because Warren stated in all of the videos in his interviews that they were a tight-knit group of people. And he also said that there were around 20 to 30 people scattered in those 3 or 4 different boats that they had taken, correct? Okay, so the trip on June the 23rd, per Warren, are a tight-knit group of people, would be the same people that we saw inside this picture.
I'm trying to see who it. So you got all these damn people ain't saying nothing. This is wild. 1, 2, 3. There's somebody right here in the cut. There's somebody right here. Somebody right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's somebody at the front of the driver. 5, 6, 7. Justice for Nolan, man.
So that is where I'm going with the video because Warren, again, said that they were a tight-knit group of friends. Like, there's no outsiders in their circle. And so the same people that are on that video on June the 23rd are the same people that are in that still image on Horns Island, allegedly Horns Island, that we see here.
Look, 2 up there. Just enjoying the breeze and shit. That's sad, man. Sad.
Secret Service Sam here for a Nolan Xavier Wells update, and we have a new picture that has emerged. It is a whole group of people on the 4th of July getting onto what is believed to be Fart Jr.'s boat. But you know who's missing? Warren's missing because that's kind of weird. Maybe it's just me. Maybe a little birdie told me this. Yep, that little birdie of mine says that in Officer Ray Tatum's podcast, if you can call it a shitcast, that Warren said he went out on his buddy's boat. And I thought that meant Fart Jr.'s boat, but we don't see Warren here in this picture in my Nancy Grace voice. So what is going on? I am not seeing a horse dragging this cart. Is he inside, getting White Claws, chilled out? I don't know, bro.
If 3 black people took a white man on a boat expedition and didn't return with him, the president would be making a speech right now. There is a double standard of justice and coverage. But here's why Kevin discusses in a great post about the national news's silence on Nolan Wells. If you Google Nolan Wells New York Times, there is no article. Nolan Wells MSNBC, nope, they haven't written one. Try CNN, all that they have is a TikTok-style video, no written article. And the Washington Post finally has an article only after his body was found. Here's why Kevin references a study that found while black people make up roughly 35% of missing persons cases in the FBI database at the time of the study, they received only 7 to 11% of media coverage. This is why local news outlets like the Mississippi Free Press that's been reporting on this are so important, and why it's so dangerous that news has been consolidating into these big billionaire-owned corporations, forcing lots of local outlets recently to keep shutting down. You can find the GoFundMe of Nolan's family at the Schmink and My Schmio, and one of the most important things is that families will tell you what they need. Sometimes that's privacy, spreading the word, financial support. We don't want to assume, we want to let them tell us how to help. His mother's request a couple days ago was if you have any pictures or videos that were taken on the northwest tip of Horn Island on July 4th to reach out to her. This is her Threads account, and you can provide evidence to help their investigation.
This is the most up-to-date Nolan Wells piece of information that just doesn't line up. You've heard a lot so far, but this one is really taking the cake for me. By now, everyone has heard the recording of the Sea Tow, which is like a towing company for boats that Nolan Wells' friends made. You heard the dispatch, you heard everything. Here's the one that doesn't make sense. Now we're being told, again, we got to be able to confirm it 100%. Right now we're at like 90% confirmation of it, that one of the friends, the grandfather called, or the father, called, spoke with somebody and said, oh, they no longer need emergency assistance. The reason why that doesn't really add up or make sense to me is because the kid that's on the phone with Cito Dispatch sounds like, hey, you guys need to get here. Like, we're taking on water. We're going to sink. You guys need to get here. What transpired from the moment that the person allegedly called and said, hey, we're all set, they're good, they don't need emergency services, to him being frantic on the phone? Did that really happen? If it did, why was none of the friends aware of it, and why wasn't it stated at one point on that recorded line? That's the part that I'm not understanding. And if it did happen and the grandfather did call, did he call and speak with someone else? Who did they speak to? These are all the things that are starting to go to the point of, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense.
How does young men who we don't really have any evidence that committed a crime, how do they get painted as criminals? How do they get painted as being responsible for the death of a person that was considered their friend?
By putting you on the case. For real, that's like someone accused of SA and then turning Republican. It's pretty much an admission of guilt. For real, why are you even on the case? You're not a cop anymore, Anthony Anderson, who would never be in Blackish. You asked, how do they get painted as criminals? How do you paint them innocent? All you are doing is defending those kids. You're interviewing them. You're pretty much their spokesperson. And just like with Sonia Massey, George Floyd, and everyone else, you're lying about this case. You said those kids took polygraph tests. Now you were checked and proven wrong by Nancy Grace. But here's her interviewing the kid's lawyer.
Have your clients taken polygraphs?
Nancy, my clients have not taken a polygraph test.
Now this guy here is a boy's lawyer. His name is Tyler Cox. Of course it's Tyler Cox. Now what does this lawyer want you to see? Advertisement for his business, Call Cox, and a bottle. The only two things he's advertising, his business and another business. Now, if you zoom in, you'll clearly see it's a bottle of Verdict bourbon. And he's been doing interviews all over, and he always has that bottle of bourbon behind him. Now, here's Brandon Tatum's podcast. What do you see? I see Verdict bourbon, right? Verdict bourbon is owned by Brandon Tatum. What a coincidence! So you don't think it's a conflict of interest for someone to market your product who's also the lawyer of the white boys that you are protecting and painting innocent? Now, I'm positive Brandon Tatum's gonna have a weak-ass excuse. Yeah, when I met him, I gave him a bottle because Verdict, he's a lawyer, Verdict, you know. But if the lawyer had any brains at all, he would see how this would look. By the way, you're defending those kids, Brandon. I wouldn't be surprised if they were drinking Verdict bourbon on the boat. Please threaten to sue me again, Brandon. Let's take this shit to discovery.
I just received this message in my inbox, and it says, I was present during the events involving Nolan. Nolan was on the island with a girl while he had his phone. He later returned to his friends, and they all sailed back to shore. After that, his phone's location moved back and forth before ending up at Evan's house. As around 1 a.m., Nolan had asked for his phone back after he had been taken. Physical altercation followed. He said they observed Nolan gasping for air and coughing up blood. On July the 5th, search teams did not find Nolan. But based on the timeline and the information available to him, I believe that his body was moved sometime late in the evening of July the 5th or during early hours of July the 6th. They are saying that's exactly why there was nothing found in the initial search for Nolan. They believe that Nolan was unalive between July 5th and or either July the 6th. Those final conclusions are their personal beliefs based on them being a witness and knowing. Unfortunately, they weren't on the island to witness or give direct times of the dumping of his body. It's unfortunately being covered up. One of the boys' mom, who is a judge, went to her house, and that's where the boat was cleaned because she knows what to use to clear evidence because she is a judge. This is truly, now all of this is alleged, y'all. It's just,
we got a governor who comes out immediately during a murder investigation and says, we see no foul play. Some people thought that was suspicious, but it turns out that the governor is actually friends with one of the persons who is suspected of being involved, parents. What does a personal connection, or when does a personal connection become a legal conflict in your opinion?
Right here, right now, we have all the makings of a cover-up.
Boom. Now that, you know what? Now, we are making progress because I stood there the whole time and I said, this is what it is. But you were reluctant to say that. You were extremely reluctant to say that. And I'm going to tell you, man, for you to come around and hear that evidence to see how things are stacking up, for you to actually change your position, most people will not change their position. They'll stand on that hill. They don't give a damn what evidence is presented. They're going to stand on that hill. For you to hear this new findings and to be able to say, they're in trouble, it says a lot about your character.
Thank you. I've always tried to call balls and strikes, right? I've always tried to be objective from a legal standpoint. I always say that again and again, right? This is a problem. This is a problem out the gate. You are on the money, okay? The fact of the matter is too many politicians, too many elected officials are tied way too close to too many potential, if not outright, suspects. That's what you have here. That's as clear as day. Now, what that means, people have different opinions, but the conflict is glaring. This is problematic on a lot of levels for the state, for the county, for these individuals, and the longer they stay voluntarily tied to this investigation, the worse it is for them. because they are held to a greater public scrutiny. They're held to higher burdens that we can really dive into their past.
Looks like all the money Warren Hudson's father raised is going to work. Trump's former lawyer, Edward Paltzik, plans on serving Al Sharpton with a 19-page pre-suit demand letter, together with his colleague J. Tyler Cox. The intention is to restore Warren Hudson, Jay, and Morgan's good names. I'm not calling them their friends, because they're not. And y'all thought Reverend Al Sharpton wasn't going to respond? Reverend Al Sharpton said, I welcome the lawsuit and will have my attorneys to be in touch with theirs to arrange for them to serve me so we can get in court. Those sound like fighting words to me. Reverend Al Sharpton says he made it very clear that he did not know any of the boys' names, so how can he defame them? And that everybody has a right and a duty to raise questions in Nolan's unaliving. Honestly, I thought they would have served Ben Crump first. Now, speaking of serving, Christine Wansley, Nolan Wells' mother, well, baby, she's still digging. She has now filed subpoenas on behalf of Nolan's estate to collect all the original recordings that came from that boat that was allegedly sinking. It had Warren Hudson and a couple other people on it. She wants the original audio from Seato Service International and another one called Ward Marine Services, which operates as Seato South Mississippi. I know why Miss Wansley wants those recordings, because everybody is trying to defame Janetta Brantley's recording, trying to call it false. I'm curious to see how this plays out.
We have new subpoenas in the Nolan Wells case, and yes, it is from Nolan Wells' family. This new subpoena is directed towards the Seatoing Company. She is requesting, Nolan Wells' mother, Christine, is requesting all the audio, the original audios, and their procedural information regarding what happens when there's a phone call, who gets the phone call, who gets the dispatch, how long does it take, all of that logistical information. This is now another subpoena that's going out. And here's the issue I have with it. We still haven't heard anything on the subpoenas for social media. Now, they had until August 18th to get back in touch with the legal team to either comply with said subpoena or object to it. We don't know if they complied. We don't know if they objected to it. But right now, all I'm seeing is another set of subpoenas. I'm kind of on the fence right now, because at this point, is this investigation moving in the right direction, or are we just sending out subpoenas to everybody that we can at this point? We're not hearing very much, aside from the fact that there's subpoenas going out there, but we don't know what's happened with the previous subpoenas yet, and we don't even know what's happening with the cell phone yet. So again, that's the new information that we have. Hopefully it pushes this investigation in the right direction. If these photos of Katie, Nolan Wells' friend, are legitimate, then the timeline has blown up. I'm going to show you guys a few photos that allegedly Katie had posted on her Snap, and take a look at the timestamps, and you let me know who you notice is missing at this time. Just so you can see, 5:24 p.m., July 4th, 5:24 p.m. We don't see Nolan. Here, we see July 4th at 5:44 p.m. Allegedly Katie, tattoos do match, no Nolan. Now we have 5:35 p.m. Katie, tattoos match. Here's the time right here at the very bottom, the 4th of July. No Nolan. Last and certainly not least, 6:02 p.m. July 4th, 6:02 p.m. No Nolan. Why is this important? This was important because the timeline was that he was left around 4:30 in the afternoon on the island with Katie and her friends. But we just saw a handful of photos with timestamps, and we don't see Nolan anywhere. And we already know that the friends were already long gone at this point. So now it brings into question, where was Nolan?